Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritually Fucked podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Mulholland. Let's get into the show. Hello, everyone. Hi, how are you? I am in my ghetto setup in my apartment. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. I was told to wear my security hat today by my guides. So that's how we're starting this episode. And I'm wearing my Where's Waldo shirt. I was also told to wear my favorite shirt today, and for some reason, this shirt just makes me really happy. Anyways, wow, what a title! The Universal Law of Threads. And yes, I did make that up. I figured, who made up these other universal laws, and why can't I make up my own? Can I be a philosopher? Like, do I have to go to school for philosophy to be a philosopher? I've been in this phase this year where I am learning how to do things the Taylor way. What has worked for me in the past, and why did I stop doing that? And why am I trying on all these different hats of everyone else? And I just found myself suffocating myself in other people's programs and their intuition and their own way of teaching, and it just wasn't aligning. And so I was just like, fuck it. I'm going back to what I know and what works. And so I looked at where I felt the most fulfilled in my life, where I was having just the most fun in life. And I looked and I saw what I was doing. And I just started doing that again. And lo and behold, I'm in love with life again. I feel so fulfilled. Opportunities are falling in my lap. And I'm just following my own heart again, and I want to inspire you to follow your own heart. And if anything in this episode resonates with you, that's great, take it. And if it doesn't, then go find your own way, and I'm really coming to this point of not just clarity with myself, but the realization that different strokes for different folks, and not everything's going to work for everyone, and there is no one way to do everything. And you look at all the different cultures and religions and all that, and it's just everyone's doing their own thing, and everyone can be happy in their own way, and there isn't one way to live. And it's just like your body type, like not everyone's going to eat the same. We're all from different cultures, lineages, body types, like all that, granted, we could all probably benefit from some organic food and some high quality food, but it's just not going to be the same for everyone. And so this year I felt really, and last year too, I felt really lost and confused in life. And it was because I was doing what everyone else was doing and I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And this year I've really honed in on my practices and what makes me happy and fulfilled. And I found a way that works, and I'm only here to share. And so the reason I'm doing this podcast and I'm a philosopher now is because this came through me as a download. And I said, oh shit, this is good. And I want a backstory because I'm a storyteller. And one of the things that really works for me is running. I fucking love running. And I actually had a Reiki psychic girl tell me, she's like, I just see you running and I see this being really healing for you. And lo and behold, I started running, and she clearly helped me unlock something in me that I was kind of blind to. Every time I run, I would just get this insane clarity, these insane downloads, and I just felt free. And that's just who I am in this life, is I seek freedom and I seek clarity in who I am in myself. And I found that through running. And I believe from like a physical standpoint, it's because it puts you in your heart. It gets you at a zone 4 or 5, depending on how hard you're running. And it gets your heart rate up, and that gets your blood circulating, and energetically you're just in your heart. So when I run, I'm huffing and puffing, and I'm in my heart. And it's like as soon as I'm there, I start to fucking like waterfall thoughts and downloads. And whether these are meant to be shared or just meant to be taken in by me at that time, like I'm enjoying it. And I just started running again because I knew it was calling. Like I just, my my soul was telling me to do something and I wasn't listening. And so my body started to tell me. And I started to, gain a little bit of weight and just become my not leanest self. And I look back and see the patterns in my life where I was the most lean, and it was because I was running a lot. And you could say it from a physical standpoint that I was lean from running because of, what does running do for you? It gets your heart rate up, it's good for your body, and of course you're going to lose weight when you're running a ton. But also from the energetic standpoint, I was returning to my heart, and I was releasing, toxins by sweating, and what is in toxins, like on the energetic point, it's like, limiting beliefs, whatever. Like I was in this routine of running, but I also was energetically in this routine of letting go, because that's what I felt like every time I ran. I felt like I was releasing old versions of myself. I was connecting to who I was as a person. I was getting in my heart, and of course my body's going to reflect that. And so when I was running, I looked really fucking good and I felt really fucking good, and I was writing a lot and channeling a lot, because it's like with cardio, you are metabolically, or however the fuck you say it, metabolically. Someone's gonna correct me. You're sweating and you're getting your heart rate up, and it's good for you, and you're releasing toxins. And then on the energetic side, you're actually like letting go. And I could just feel myself wanting to run again, but I wasn't. And so I gained a little bit of weight because I'm holding on to these old patterns. I'm holding on to protection. That's kind of what energetic weight gain is it's like you're holding on. It's trying to protect yourself. And so not only did I have like an intuitive reflect back to me that, your body is asking you to do more like high intensity stuff, like my body was showing me by gaining weight, and I was like, oh shit, I should probably start running again. And then as soon as I started running, I started to feel better. And this is what, 7 minutes in. This is a long backstory, but we don't gatekeep on the details here. And so I may or may not be doing a half marathon. I thought, if I want to start running again, I need to have a goal. That's how I work. I can't just like say I'm going to do it every day. Like, a goal is good for me. It's good for Taylor. That's what works for me. And so I might be dog sitting at that time. I don't know, but I'm just going to train for a half marathon. I can comfortably run about 6 miles now. So 13 miles doesn't seem that far to reach, but I've been enjoying it. I ran yesterday, I ran today, and that's how I got the download, and that's why I'm making this podcast. And so I was on my run today. To get into the nitty gritty, I was on my run today. And for maybe like 1/3 of my run, I listen to music. That's what gets me in my body. I just like to free my mind. I like to run to music. And then after about 1/3 through, I just listen to silence and the birds, because where I run in Boulder, there are so many fucking birds, and I love the birds. I feel like they're talking to me like all the time. And so I listen to the birds. And so I took my music off, and where I was, I really pushed myself in this run. It felt like bliss. It sounded just so beautiful. Like I was by a lake, the birds were chirping, there was windy, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is the feeling I've been like seeking. This is what freedom feels like to me. And I just was excited to listen to myself. And so that's when this download came through of the universal law of threads. And I was like, what? That's so interesting. And how I pictured it in my head, because our subconscious does run on metaphors, or it really likes metaphors. I don't want to phrase it like that. Our subconscious really likes metaphors. And I'm Taylor Mulholland, and I really like metaphors. And, I'm a poet. Like, they really help. I'm a very visual person, like third eye visual. Like, I imagine it in my brain, And so of course, at the same time, this happened. I'm going to preface backstory a little bit more. The night before, I had this reoccurring feeling come up. And I've had this situation reflect back to me in experiences throughout my life where I had something happen when I was about 7 years old. And, when your subconscious is at that age, it's very absorbent to what's happening around you. So if you have any quote unquote traumas or experiences, those can kind of lock into your brain and then later reflect into your life. And so I had this pattern resurface in my life over and over and over and over and over again. And last night I felt this somatic, like not even like in my brain, but I felt it physically. I'm like, motherfucker, this experience is coming and it's haunting me right now. And I'm just like, gosh darn it. I thought I worked through this. I'm 30 years old right now and I'm still dealing with this fucking thing that happened. And so and it's very clear, like, of the experiences in my life where this was reflected, and I thought I've worked through it, and it's like this ongoing thing of, like, when am I gonna fucking get over this? And that's when this universal law came through, and I saw it very clearly as I saw this long thread. And on that thread, it rooted to the experience that happened when I was 7. And I saw it on a timeline. So I'll preface that. I saw a timeline, and then above it, I saw this thread. It was pink, if you're wondering. This tiny little thread that connected from me to this day to that time when I was 7 years old. And on that thread, I saw pictures, like framed pictures of experiences that happened. And it's like, these experiences happened because they were tracing to this thread. And I thought, with the tools that I know up to this point from what I've learned, I just cut the thread. I just cut it off and boom, it's done. And then I was like, wait a second, that doesn't feel right. Because if I cut the thread, and here's where it gets really, really big. This is when it felt big for me, what I experienced of this new universal law I'm creating, is that when you cut the thread, that thread on the end from that experience is open to attaching to other threads in your life. So you can keep cutting that thread over and over again, but because it's a loose thread, it's going to keep attaching to the other threads in the tapestry of your life. And when I had this download, I guess you could say, or imagery or thought, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, because it's like we can go back and keep cutting and cutting and cutting the cord. But if that little cord is loose as a goose in the tapestry of your life, it's going to go and connect to other threads. And this experience is going to keep happening over and over again. And how this connects to actual physical universal laws is energy is neither nor created or destroyed. It just is. It's either transmuted or it stays the same. And so when you go back and you cut cords, you can't get rid of that experience. You can only transmute it. And this is where my poetic heart came in, because I was like, oh my gosh, you have this huge tapestry of your life. You have all these threads. Well, do you want those threads to be cut and loose? Like, do you want to cut into your tapestry? Because those threads are going to attach to other experiences. What if you weaved it with all the other things in your life and made it beautiful? And so how I imagined this experience going, or this universal law, is instead of cutting it, you weave it into something beautiful and you transmute it. And it's finding unconditional love for this experience rather than trying to cut it off or like make it explode or get rid of it, is because you can't really do that with energy. You can only transmute it, which through love. Okay, we're going to get really woo-woo in this. I think there's either fear or love, and then the emotions that come from either of those. But if this experience sparked fear, then you transmute it through love. And how do you do that? Well, you do it through your fucking eyeballs. You do it through your RAS, your I always botch these words. Reticulating activating system. Okay, I'm going to call it the RAS. Okay? I just found out I'm probably neurodivergent. And so reticulating activating system. I might just edit this whole thing out, or I'll keep it in because it keeps me humble. But there's this thing in your brain called the RAS, and it's how you filter things. And so how things you look at in the world, they filter through this, and then you create the emotion from that. And so our brain is a piece of technology pretty much. You can reprogram it, you can rewire it. It just takes work, it takes meditation, it takes different brain states. And so what that is getting to and leading to this universal law of threads is that you have to look or weave this situation differently rather than cutting it. Because if you end up cutting all these things or cutting yourself from these situations, it's going to leave your tapestry all cut up. And those threads can attach to other situations, and then they're always going to keep coming up again. So instead, we're transmuting it. So pretty much this is a very poetic way of saying we're transmuting our past experiences. Instead of cutting them off or shoving them aside, because what you resist persists. And this is why probably this experience has kept coming up to me at 30 years old, because I still haven't I haven't transmuted it, clearly. It's coming up because it's coming through. And the more I keep trying to cut it off or resist it, the more it's going to persist. And when I said the word coming through, I imagine like a thread, like coming through. Like, when you're sewing or you're crocheting, it's like, it's coming up to come through, and it's coming through to weave into this beautiful experience. And I'm going to say this again, the tapestry of life. Like, we have this beautiful canvas or this beautiful opportunity to create this life. And this could be the Taurus in me making this super poetic and wanting it to be beautiful. We come from the planet Venus. We all have Venus in our chart, but mine's a little extra juicy because of my placements. But I want everything to feel and look beautiful. That's how I want my life to be. And to do that, we have to beautify our past and our experiences. And this is not at all about slapping a love and light sticker over it and just, love and light. It's about physically transmuting it. And so how does that look for you? Well, maybe you need to weave it through a somatic experience, or maybe weave the neuroplasticity in your brain into something that is working for you. Our brain there's this thing called neuroplasticity, and it's like, how I imagine it in my brain, it's like gum, like it's sticky, like plastic almost. And like, it's not just like an affirmation's gonna one and done it. Like, you have to like work through this neuroplasticity, but it's also very malleable. So you can change the way your brain is programmed or weaved. You can change how that tapestry is weaved. And it's not about cutting it off or letting it go. How many times are we told to let it go? It's about really transmuting it and making it into a beautiful experience, or at least unconditional love for it. And so how do you do that? The world is your oyster. I mean, for me, I'm a fucking poet. You do it through art, you do it through physical art, you do it through spoken art, you can do it through comedy. Comedy is such a art form that people have used in the past for bypassing your emotions, but truly, I believe it's transmuting your emotions. How many dad jokes can I make? Like, it's just fun and games, because I personally have a very healing relationship with my dad. Now, I couldn't say that in the past, but he's, I've done the fucking work. And so I can make a dad joke and not be like hurt by it, Like, it's not me trying to cover my emotions with daddy jokes. It's like, no, I had this experience in my life. Like, I'm going to make some fucking art out of it, and I'm going to make people laugh. I'm going to put people in their heart by making light of a situation, and maybe inspire them to look at their own trust issues. I don't know. If you get triggered by my daddy jokes, maybe you should go work on it. Okay? But back to the universal law of threads, it's like, how can we beautify the tapestry of our life and transmute rather than explode? Maybe it does take some anger or cutting it off, but you have to really get the grip that you can't get rid of energy. It can only transmute. How do you learn more about this? I don't know. Look at Shiva. Like, isn't he like the creator of energy or something about destroy? See, I don't do research before these podcasts, but what's coming through is Shiva, okay? And just an opportunity to try something new in your life. If there has been an experience that has happened in your life over and over again and you can't seem to let it go, you can't, no matter how many times you cut the cords, try to adopt this universal law of threads and look at the thread it's weaved into your life, and maybe looking at the experiences it has caused and see why that was the best thing to ever happen. You know, I look back and I'll give an example. It's like, I was never believed. Anything I said was a lie. And I look back and I see those experiences that come off, and it's shitty, you guys. You know, I used to work at a fucking bar, and everyone thought I was fake as shit because I was so nice. Everyone was like, she's way too nice. She's just fake as shit. Like, and no one wanted to be friends with me because I was way too nice. When really I was just being a nice person, but because I had this script running that anything I say isn't true, people didn't believe me. And I was just reintroduced with these experiences over and over again. But I look back and I say, okay, why is this the best thing ever? Well, shit. I'm 30 years old and I've gotten really clear on what that truth is, and I've gotten really confident in what I say. I mean, I have a podcast, I wrote 2 books, I fucking have a Substack, I post on Instagram, I send email blasts. Like, how much more talking can I do? And I've done that through these experiences by getting really fucking clear and saying, no, what I say is absolute truth because it's coming from my heart. And there's no experience from now on to this point that is going to prove me different. And if it comes up again, I'm just going to say, how can I look at this through the lens of love, through the lens of curiosity? Why does this keep coming into my life? How can I beautify this? How can I transmute this? Not get rid of it. I'm not going to say, motherfucker, that experience in the past, it's haunting me again. I need another cord cutting meditation. That hasn't worked for me, clearly. So I'm going to look at it as a thread, and I'm going to weave it into my life and say, this is the best fucking thread ever. I'm going to weave it through my experiences and say, how can I make this the most beautiful thing about me? And it makes me want to cry a little bit, because when I can forgive myself, I can forgive others. And I'm really forgiving myself right now for, you know, that little girl who didn't know better, that little girl who was just trying so hard to be loved. That girl now who's trying so hard to speak her truth, but is still being reminded by this experience in the past, and it's just getting me more clear into what that truth is and making sure I'm fucking rooted to it. And to this day, you can bet that thread is on a fucking pedestal. It is glorifying all these experiences of me being strong in my voice, strong in my truth. And if you look at this from an astrological standpoint, I am meant to speak in this life. I have an 11th house stellium in Taurus, and Taurus rules the throat. And right on top of my sun, my Taurus sun, guess what? It's Mercury. And Mercury is the planet of communication. And so it's very clear when you look at my chart that I am meant to speak and move through this world using my voice in community. And if you look at the experiences in the past, life could have proved me wrong and life could have kept me quiet, but I kept trucking. And this is just part of this human experience is we are given these obstacles to break through them and to prove them wrong. That's what it is to be human, to be a spirit, to be a spiritual being in this human form. It's to enter the matrix and harmonize it through your truth, through your heart. I feel like that's really fucking important right now that everyone needs to know, is that you are here to bring light into this world. But you're here to be human too, and it's bridging the two. Again, I will fucking coin this term and trademark it. It's harmonizing the fucking matrix. And it's not escaping it. It's not shutting it out. It's not, hating it. It's harmonizing it. It's loving it. And I'm copywriting that shit because I feel like the Matrix is such a big term people use now, and escape the Matrix. And it's like, do you want to escape it? Why else would you come down to this earth? And so my intentions for this podcast is to just inspire you to not only find your own way, but to try on new experiences and to look at your past and just fall in love with it and say, you know what, I can't change the past. I can't, but I can change how I look at it. And I want to make it beautiful. Because at the end of this life, it's you, baby. It is you and your experiences, and I don't want your experiences to stop you from making new experiences and following your dreams. And you know what? Maybe I made this podcast for me only, and that's just how it's going to be. And that's okay, because I'm a philosopher now. I've decided I'm a philosopher, and I'm creating a new universal law, and I'm going to be in Webster's dictionary. No, I don't know. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to say before I let you go? No, just find what works for you, okay? And if you don't know what that is yet, keep asking questions and just don't stop. Don't stop and just do it. And if this resonated for you, please let me know. I'm so curious because this is just something that literally came in my brain today, and I'm really curious how it is received by you. So let me know. If it's a good comment, please leave me a review. And if it's a bad comment, you can tell me privately, okay? I still want to know, but you don't have to blast it out. So anyways, you guys, I adore you. Thank you so much for being here. And we're almost at that 1 year mark of the podcast. And so if you've been with me for this long, I really, really appreciate you. Okay? Have a great day and go weave that thread, baby. Bye.